Apparently, when Harry and Meghan returned back here to the United Kingdom, they actually thought that this was the real reason why people within senior members of the British monarchy at least decided not to speak to them. Yes, you won't want to miss this. Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. Now behind me is St Giles in the Fields Church, a beautiful area just at the top end of Tottenham Court Road, Oxford Street, that sort of area. That's what I love about London. You know, you turn a corner and there is a quiet moment, a quiet oasis where you think, wow, finally away from all the people, the traffic, the noise, you know what I mean. When you get out and about, sometimes it's just too much, isn't it? You just think, I just need to sit down somewhere quiet. This is the place for you. Also, they have a wonderful cafe too. Got my flask though, as you can imagine. Back as ever to your breaking roll story of the day. It was strange, wasn't it, when Harry and Meghan returned back here to the United Kingdom, because as we said, they came over here for totally different reasons. If you recall, they were here to do their favourite charities, meet people, you know, reconnect as it were. Nobody was really quite sure where all of this deal came from, but nonetheless, you know, they made that move back over, even under the threat of the security that they were so nervous about. Seemingly they forgot about that, as Meghan was seen gripping people with a vice-like grip while she was doing selfies in Germany. And then of course we saw that walkabout, didn't we, out at Windsor following the sad death of our wonderful monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. Took a lot of guts, I would have imagined, when you think about it, because she must have known exactly what people were thinking in the crowd, and many of it was very vocal. Whatever you saw, there were a lot of people also turning away. But you know, people like Meghan are used to the public, you know. You're either in or you're out of favour, and she just sees this as a dark spot. And I mean that in the kindest of ways. And also, as we told you before here on the show, Meghan herself felt totally validated by going out for that walkabout, because as she's told someone, and as ever we have to say allegedly, she, you know, felt that people were glad to see her. You know, there were people there willing to shake her hands, give her flowers, and meet with her, totally forgetting, of course, that the flowers were in fact for our late monarch. And also you saw the video where Meghan really didn't understand, once again, royal protocol. Obviously, you know, to take things and pass them to an aide is the real reason, to make sure that they are looked after and, more importantly, given to the correct people. Meghan clearly wanted to do that herself, and once again that created a bit of a furor. But the bigger picture is this. Sadly, at the funeral of our late monarch, you will have noticed that seemingly they were ostracised. You know, when you look at these pictures, clearly no one is talking to them. Even their closest, Princess Eugenie, seemingly had lost the power of speech on that day, and seemingly didn't want to speak to either Harry or Meghan. Now, of course, you know, when you look at the bigger picture, it's quite tragic, isn't it? There you have one of the most respected families in the world, seemingly at all odds and all down really to two individuals. Yeah, a lot of people are blaming one, I'm blaming two, you know, takes two to tango, as they say, and seemingly, you know, they seemed a little bit put out. You know, when Harry got in the car, there was that famous picture of him now blowing out of his cheeks and thinking, oh, you know, like we all would do. But now, as ever, it's come from a very good source that basically the reason why people did not want to speak to them was for their own self-protection. Let me explain. It's not the self-protection of them. Apparently, according to Meghan's people, and as ever we have to say allegedly, this is all down to the fact that she or they were concerned that lip readers, body language experts would pick up on this and decide for their own sort of interpretation. So apparently Harry and Meghan fully understood why they were left alone. They realised that they were the story, the talking point. Very strange thing to think, isn't it, on a day like that, you know? I'll leave that one there. But seriously, that's allegedly what they felt was the deal. And so anyone speaking to them could be misinterpreted, and of course, you know, a gentle touch on the arm or whatever could be sped back in the most unsavoury way. It's strange, isn't it? Because when you think about this particular situation, whenever there's something going wrong, truly, it can never ever be that person's fault. It always has to be the nasty media. That's the reason why nobody's speaking to you. That's the reason why people are standing away from you. I think if they were truthful with themselves, you know, and that would be a big ask, one would have to say, well, look, the reason why people daren't speak in front of you is they're frightened about what's going to come out, what you're going to say. And as we saw also on that very short trip back, Gayle King seemingly had the hotline to someone very close, because again, she also spoke about how the relationship was still fractured. Is it any wonder that nobody wished to speak to them on such a solemn day in history? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.